Hello there, amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to my first Doctor Who Big Finish review in a while. And of course, I am reviewing one of my favourite Big Finish audios, actually my favourite Big Finish audio, and it's one I personally do enjoy, and I am reviewing Doctor Who Light at the End, a fun multi-Doctor story. And actually it was my first multi-Doctor story from Big Finish, and I re-listened to this one after listening to it about 3-4 years ago, and I really have fallen in love with the story all over again because I absolutely have enjoyed listening to it last night. I really did enjoy it. So to celebrate this kind of review, I've kind of done a display with my Doctor Who figures to try and represent Big Finish. And of course, you've got the 4th Doctor and Leela, you've got the 5th Doctor, you've got the 5th Doctor, Tegan, the 5th Doctor, the 6th Doctor and Perry, the 7th Doctor and Ace, the 8th Doctor, and of course the Geoffrey Beevor's Master, because Geoffrey Beevor's Master is in the story. So what can I say about Light at the End? It is a fun story to celebrate 50 years of Doctor Who. Now, this is the big 50th anniversary for Doctor Who for Big Finish. Now, if only the 50th anniversary was a bit like this, I would love Day of the Doctor a lot more if we had more of the classic Doctors. So I have to say, for this review, I'm going to be giving it my ranking and my rating towards the end. So I'm literally going to give you a little bit of the plot, basically what my thoughts on the story and what I enjoyed. So the plot: the Master is trying to erase the Doctor from all the time and space and making his TARDIS collapse in on itself. So when the Doctor basically is trying to get to Totter's Lane in 1963, he ends up terrorizing on this war planet where basically got these people trying to make bids on these weapons on this war planet. And of course, the 8th Doctor's ties kind of get separated from him and Charlie. So we start off at the end of the actual title sequence, right, like the end of the theme music, that we got the 8th Doctor and Charlie travelling in the time vortex from a previous adventure, which kind of takes place somewhere during their time period. I haven't got a lot of the 8th Doctor and Charlie's audio, so I don't know where to actually place this, because I know it's just before he meets his other companions, which I really do enjoy. So when the 8th Doctor and Charlie kind of get separated, the 8th Doctor and Charlie comes across a past incarnation, aka the first part, because it is split into 2 parts, so part 1 and part 2. So the first part is a fun little multi-Doctor story because it basically starts off with the 8th Doctor meeting the 4th Doctor. So to actually have Tom and Paul McGann actually having some screen with their Doctors, it is honestly bloody hell, it's bloody brilliant. Them two are so great with each other. I really enjoy the 4th and the 8th Doctors in this story because it's just superb. Really, really superb. It honestly is. Now, the first 3 Doctors are kind of like ghosts. They're echoes, but they do try to help the other 5 Doctors in this story. So the first 3 Doctors are kind of like echoes, but I can't remember who does the voice of John Pertwee's Doctor, because it's not really said on the back of the CD. I need to get the limited edition version so I can actually read who played the 3rd Doctor in this audio. But the 1st Doctor is so good. I think it's either Peter Purvis or William Russell for the 1st Doctor, and Fraser Hines does a really good Patrick Troughton sort of impression in the foreground. So in this audio, you got the 4th Doctor travelling with Leela, you got the 8th Doctor travelling with Charlie, you've got the 5th Doctor travelling with kind of Nyssa, and unfortunately they haven't released a Nyssa figure, so I can't display Nyssa on the shelf, but you got the 6th Doctor travelling with Perry and the 7th Doctor travelling with Ace. So it is a great story, and of course you do have echoes of other companions. So we have like Carolyn Ford as Susan, who becomes a bit like a ghost, Ian Chesterton played by William Russell, Stephen Taylor, Peter Purvis, and then of course Mira O'Brien, Vicky makes a cameo. Then of course we have Jean Marsh as Sarah Kingdom, Anna Carrells as Polly, Jamie is played by Fraser Hines, and of course Wendy Perry, and of course Joe Grant, and Janet Fielding and Mark Stretton do also make appearances as ghosts in the first part, which is actually quite good. I absolutely love the part where something's going wrong with the TARDIS and this big, massive, red, flashy light thing's going on, and it's going on through all of the TARDISes. So basically, it starts off with the 8th Doctor, then of course the 8th Doctor goes into the 4th Doctor's TARDIS, where the 5th Doctor lands in a garden, and of course him and Nyssa comes across this bloke, and unfortunately the Master got there first and kind of turned the bloke's family into dolls, really, by using the tissue. I mean, the tissue manipulator. And the Master is played by Jeffrey Beavers. Now, this is honestly my very first audio for the Master from Big Finish, and I absolutely love Jeffrey Beavers. I want him back as the Master on screen. Just give me Jeffrey Beavers back. Please give me Jeffrey Beavers back. So Jeffrey, aka the Master, is trying to erase the Doctor from time and space, but when you kind of get to the other part too, so you kind of got the Fifth Doctor with Nyssa, and of course Nyssa gets taken out of time, so it's just basically the Fifth Doctor. Then of course you've got the Sixth Doctor and Perry travelling the TARDIS and the time vortex, and something's going wrong with them. The Seventh Doctor and Ace are also going to investigate, but their TARDIS kind of gets slimed, which means the Seventh and Sixth Doctors kind of meet in the Sixth Doctor's TARDIS, later to be joined by the Fifth Doctor, which I personally did enjoy listening to Peter Davison and Colin Baker, Swiss McCoy interact. But basically, I absolutely loved it just for Tom Baker and Paul McGann's reaction with their Doctors. Ah, so you're my future, I see. I absolutely love Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor. I really do. And it never sounds like he stepped away from the role in this Big Finish audio, because Tom and Louise Jameson are so good together. Really makes me laugh when I listen to it for the first time, and I still enjoyed their bits. I really enjoyed it. Leela kind of gets taken out of time as well. But then, of course, it does come up into the end where basically all 8 Doctors, including the first 3 Doctors, end up colliding the TARDISes into the Masters to create a space-time ram to reassert all of the time and basically undo the Masters' damage. So there is another Time Lord in this one who is from the CIA, the Time Lord International Agency. And of course, he's been working with the Master. And of course, he basically goes and helps the Doctor after encountering the Sixth Doctor with Perry. Now, I also like when the Sixth Doctor notices the first 3 Doctors. He goes, no, stop. And of course, Perry recognises the Second Doctor from where she met him in the 2 Doctors. And it was such a great way to basically bring back callbacks and references to other Doctors in their timelines, like for the 2 Doctors. So, for trying to work this out in the Doctor's timeline, I think for the Fourth Doctor, this takes place somewhere in between season 14 and 15, because they are actually in the secondary console room. For the Fifth Doctor is travelling with Nyssa, and of course this will be in place in between Time Flight and Arc of Infinity, when they get reunited with Tegan and Tarlo. Well, with Tegan. The Tarlo and Tegan, I think that is somewhere in between season 20, so it could either be somewhere in between the Black Guardian trilogy. The Sixth Doctor and Perry, definitely somewhere in between season 22 and season 23. The Seventh Doctor and Ace, again, I think it's just after The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, because there are a few references if you haven't heard them, which I really do enjoy. And of course, Ace has no memory of the Master. So this is basically Ace's first interaction with the Master, which is a bit odd considering that she met the Master in Survival. So this really does take place before Survival for the Doctor and Ace. The Seventh Doctor and Ace, where the Eighth Doctor and Charlie, I cannot begin where to place this, because the Eighth Doctor's timeline is very complicated for Big Finish. I haven't listened to all of his audios. I still got to listen to them. I really do. But yeah, I really enjoyed this Big Finish audio. So that's a little bit of the plot. The Master's trying to erase the TARDIS by basically collapsing it in itself and trying to get rid of the Doctors, until with the help of the Time Lord the CIA Time Lord, the Time Lord International Agency, time gets reverted. They all go back, and of course, by the end of the story, the Eighth Doctor and Charlie do go to investigate the person's house that had his family kind of kidnapped by the Master and tissue manipulated. But time does reassert. They all go back to normal, and of course, it turns out that all the Doctors have been previously, all 7 Doctors have been previously, between the 8th, from the 1st to the 8th Doctors, which is really nice. And of course, we have the return of the Dealey Derbyshire theme at the end of the actual story, which was a nice little callback, and I really did enjoy it. So to actually rank and rate this story from Big Finish, it's definitely A+++++, because I really did enjoy this one. I absolutely love it. It is my favourite Big Finish audio, followed by Out of Time 1, because that's just another great multi-Doctor story. My favourite Doctor with my least favourite Doctor. And I have to give this one a 10 out of 10. It is an absolutely brilliant audio. If you haven't listened to this one, I suggest you highly recommend it. So let me know in the comments if you have listened to Doctor Who right at the end. Is it one that you do enjoy? Is it one that you haven't enjoyed? Please let me know. Please join me for more awesome Doctor Who content. And of course, join me on Friday for another Big Finish review. And I cannot wait to get that review out, because I will be reviewing another Doctor Who story from Big Finish. So thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe, share, and join for awesome Doctor Who content.